Have you ever watched your focus fall apart a few days before your period? No matter how hard you try, if that is you, you are not broken. You've been underexplained. I spent years telling myself to get it together. New planners, new systems, more discipline. From the outside, I looked fine. Inside, I was juggling fire. And then, like clockwork, late cycle, the floor dropped out. I thought it was character, but it was chemistry. No one connected ADHD with hormones for me. So I will do it for you. Clean, simple, no drama. Some weeks my brain felt like a sharp blade. I could plan, I could land details. Other weeks, the same tasks felt heavy. Short fuse, sticky notes everywhere, not random, rhythmic. The rhythm of estrogen shifting and taking parts of executive function with it. I didn't see it because I was good at masking. You hold it together in meetings, deliver, smile, and then fall apart at home. Masking looks like resilience. Often it's exhaustion. A friend once said to me, "Everything with you is always so perfect. How do you do it?" If only she'd known how hard it was to keep that facade standing. Truth is, I didn't see it either until I understood what was going on. Today I know this. Back then I spent my energy holding myself together. Now that I've named what's happening, that same energy makes me strong from the inside out. I don't force myself into the mold anymore. I am myself, and for the first time, I feel free. Here's something I didn't understand for a long time. My symptoms only became truly disruptive in perimenopause. That was the tipping point, the moment the mask stopped working. Before that, the road was long. My GP labeled it depression and prescribed medication. What felt off even then was how short my bad phases were. They didn't match what I knew from working in healthcare. I tried the meds out of sheer exhaustion. The result? My life moved on rails. No terrible days, but no good ones either. Everything felt flat. My gut said, "This isn't right." When I stopped, my energy and my joy came back. I'd also been in and out of therapy since my early 30s. Not one psychologist or psychiatrist ever suggested ADHD. Not because they didn't care, because the female pattern is easy to miss, especially when you're functioning. And like many mothers, it was my children's diagnosis that finally put the mirror in front of me. Here's the part that finally made sense of my life. Hormones don't cause ADHD, but they can turn the volume up or down on symptoms across puberty, across the month, and in perimenopause. When estrogen drifts down the late luteal phase, focus and emotional regulation can wobble. Perimenopause isn't a smooth drift down. It's often large and rapid swings in estradiol with intermittent anovulation and erratic progesterone exposure. Those swings can make attention, sleep, and mood feel unstable. And many women find masking harder. You are not losing yourself. You are seeing the pattern without the mask. ADHD rarely travels alone. Anxiety, poor sleep, and migraines are common companions, as well as many others. When you treat the whole mix, the fog lifts faster. Let's go back to my story. I thought the diagnosis would be the finish line. It wasn't. It gave me language and a choice. The first steps were messy. My psychiatrist suggested we try medication, but he wouldn't consider the typical first-line option. The alternative we tried slowly pushed me sidewards. I grew irritable. I felt nauseous and I didn't feel like myself. My sleep unraveled. Then came sleeping pills. At some point, everything slipped out of orbit and I checked into a clinic for a few weeks. Turning point. In that quiet, I listened to my body. I stopped forcing myself into a mold that never fit. I began to rebuild my days around my biology. That part changed everything. In the clinic, I learned to listen to my needs. One of them is simple but non-negotiable. Lots of quiet. Time by myself. The right to say no when I don't want to. I also saw that people who don't respect my boundaries are simply not good for me. Over the next years, I said goodbye to a few of them. At first, I was terrified, afraid I'd end up alone, with no friends. What I learned, true friends are the ones who still like me when I say no. Not no to them, but yes to me. I learned that my ADHD isn't just a hurdle. It also comes with strength. For years, I couldn't see them because I'd been told those traits were a burden. What still fascinates me, so much of it felt normal to me. I assumed everyone had that many thoughts at once, that everyone could be creative, and that nobody ever has a completely quiet mind. Working with a new therapist, I met myself again. I stopped grading my life on a straight line, and I started honoring the wave. The lows weren't failures. They were part of the ocean. Choosing to welcome them fully took a weight off my shoulders. I didn't have to keep the mask on. I didn't wave to pretend I was fine everywhere. Vulnerability wasn't a leak in the system. It was an opening. My truth is simple. I'm not inconsistent. I am riding a wave. And since I understood that, shame doesn't visit me in the thoughts. Sometimes I even find myself looking forward to catching the next swell. From there, we rebuild how I live. Rest without apology. Boundaries as routine, not rupture. Ask for help before I snap. Shape my environment so my brain can win. Clear starts, kind endings, tools that fit me. Productivity stopped being a moral score and became a tool. On big days, I fly. On quiet days, I pick one thing and call it a win. Both are valid, both are me. And when life asks for more than I have, I pause. I say, not now. That sentence alone changed my nervous system. And I told the truth to myself first. I am not inconsistent. I'm cycling. Once you see it, you can plan for it. Over time, I noticed something else. My wave had a clock. It wasn't random. It moved with my cycle. Late luteal, the tide pulled back. Focus thinned, sleep frayed. Patience shrank. In perimenopause, the tide got louder and faster. Big, rapid swings rather than a steady slope. That's when the masks stopped working. I couldn't switch perfect on demand anymore. That wasn't a failure. It was physiology. Estrogen can modulate dopamine and executive function. Late luteal dips aren't character, they're chemistry. Seeing the wave and its clock didn't fix everything, but it gave me levers. If hormones can change the wave's height, I can change how I ride it. What I wish a doctor had asked me. When do your worst days happen? Randomly or in a pattern? What does it cost you to look fine? And if you removed the mask for a week, what would break first? Those 3 questions would have shortened my road by years. They point to the wave, to the clock inside the wave, and to the price of pretending. If you are in that room now, you are allowed to answer honestly. You're allowed to want a plan that fits your life and not a life that fits a plan. If you're hearing yourself in this, start small this week. Place one hard task in your better focus window and protect it. Make mornings and nights boring on purpose. Boring is stabilizing. And speak to a clinician who understands ADHD in women, because assessment matters, treatment matters. For some, medication is part of it. For many, timing and routine are the force multipliers. A few ideas I'd love to retire while we're here. It's not just PMS. If your focus collapses pre-period, that pattern is a clue. Being fine most weeks doesn't rule out ADHD. Masking and biology can hide the core picture. Success isn't proof you don't have ADHD. Many of us build elaborate workarounds. That's not absence of symptoms, that's a skill. If no one ever told you this, you are not lazy, you are not dramatic. You are running a nervous system that responds to hormones, sleep, stress, and load. That is not an excuse. It is a strategy. If this helped, subscribe and comment one pattern you've noticed. Your note might be the reason another woman feels seen. I make clear science-based videos for women navigating their health. Stay tuned.